And just like that, motor's sitting where it goes. And the mount, I do have to admit, with those solid motor mounts, it sits about 3/4 of an inch lower, which is nice. But guys, I showed you this beforehand. If you have a 4-valve, this right here is your best friend and the best $25 you will ever spend. You know this motor has got to come out almost vertical, and having to stop and rehook chains and hooks and adjust to get it back flat to come out, or tilted down to come up, you literally just have to screw the handle, and you can use 2 fingers to do it. It's not hard. And that right there is my new best friend. On the back, I took this chain, ran it through their clevis, because these flat L's won't bolt into the back of the bell housing. So I just ran this chain, bell housing bolt, up to the clevis. These two bolted right onto these top ears. Picked up the motor, transmission, everything fully assembled, bolted together. Starter's already in it. Slipped right in. It took longer to jack it up than it did to set it in the car. It literally took 2 minutes. Set it in at an angle, leveled it out, boom, in and done. Now, we're gonna get everything hooked up, see how these turbo headers fit. So, on to the next clip. Back in the shop. It's been a full day of trying to get headers in. And I will tell you now, these headers do not fit. They just don't. The motor had to come back up again because the longer header, if you see it down in there, will not go in from the bottom, top, side, will not fit through this K-member. There's nothing you can do with it except pull the motor or drop the whole K-member out, set the header in it, and put everything back together. Since I had just set the motor and still had a couple things unhooked, I decided to just pick the motor up. And I don't mean pick it up a couple inches and then set it back down. No. I mean cut the trans loose, cut everything loose, pick the motor all the way up to where it's at a nice vertical angle, and then snake it in from the front. I said they don't fit, and you see this one there. Well, just because it's there doesn't mean it fits. We have interference up here, down here. Oh, I'm out of focus. Dang it. Come on, phone. I'm recording on my phone. As I said, I'm not a YouTuber. I don't have all the fancy cameras and microphones, everything they do. I'm a mechanic. So, with that said, interference there, interference there. The motor, you can see where it normally rides, high in the cradle on this side, low on the other side. This one is in, but it's also wedged right there. The passenger side of the engine wants to sit down in the cradle, but it's being held up by that header. Yes, I have Lakewood 9010 struts in the front on coilovers. They say you can't do it. There you go. Only thing you have to do to run a 9010 as a strut or coilover is grind this down. That's it. Because the cup won't fit over that ring. Knock the edge off of it, boom, got a nice strut. On to the passenger side. This over here, total disaster. You would think you have more room on this side, it would all be good. No, just no. Yes, I don't have a shirt on. It's Florida, it's hot. And I'm working in a pop can. This header, I literally fought these headers for about 11 hours yesterday. Tried any and everything I could figure out to make them fit. Came up with, if I cut the bottom tube off of the shorter header, it would fit on the passenger side. No. I can get it in, but it's about an inch off the block. with the lower tube cut off. I'll show you. This is what I've done. That tube stuck well below the other one here that you see and hit on the actual frame, K-member. See, as I mentioned, the motor wants to sit down the rest of the way in that cradle. Come on. As you can see, I'm still 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch up. It can live there. I'm okay with that. But this header, I'm gonna try and do this while recording. All right, we're in. But see, we're off by a ways there. I can get it forward to where it goes. Damn, come on, phone. But you see the gap between the two? I'm about 1 inch off the actual head where it would need to bolt. I cannot get it up because I'm hitting my K-member. If you had a stock K-member, you could throw this right out the window. So the only option I have here, granted, I've already cut one pipe off to get it to that point. The only option I've got, come on, catch up. Only option I really would have would be to cut these off where they're fairly straight back here and extend this out. I would probably go 1.5 inches just to make sure I have enough clearance for the K-member, because I'm hitting right there, that front brace. So basically at this point, I'm stuck. I don't know if I want to continue with this kit or just say the hell with it, throw my long tubes back on, fire it up, and run it. Otherwise, basically, if I'm going to continue on, I'm going to have to rework both headers. And when I say rework, I mean pretty much completely. I need to cut off both of them, change the angle that they come out, and extend them out. If you remember on the driver's side, it's already wedged up against the frame and it's not out far enough to clear the K-member. I do kind of like the place that it lands. I'll show you. Shit. Right here, I just stuck the turbo flange on just to see. But here's the other issue. I don't know where to mount this turbo. I've looked and looked and looked. I can mount them up behind here on both sides, and that'll work for mounting the turbo. But I'm going to have a pipe that would come off of here, up 90 back out into the turbo. Okay, that much is great. I really do not want a fender exhaust. With that said, there is nowhere, think there's a 2.5 inch pipe coming across here, 90ing over to the turbo. If I come back out of the back of the turbo and 90 back over, I cannot come out here because this is where the tire turns, obviously. If I ran back below it, oh, can't do that because of the steering. There's really nowhere that I'm seeing to get the exhaust back up under the car. If you wanted a fender exhaust, that would work, as long as you're willing to completely and totally rework these headers. Next thought is take the turbo. I'll show you. Mount it right here on top of the fender. That'll work. Cut out the fender for an air filter or intake of some sort for the turbo. Got the battery cable in the way. Hold on, folks. Hold on. Should have got all this ready before I started recording, but bear with me. Okay. Outlet is facing the headlight. That's okay. You can turn the cartridge and adjust anything you want. But we're going to have the same problem coming out with the exhaust to go somewhere. And we can 90 up here. See the flange? You can 90 up and hit the bottom of the turbo with the exhaust. But then you have your power steering reservoir, all your hydro boost lines and power steering lines that are in the way. This is doable. Okay. That'll work for the driver's side. Uh-oh. All our AC stuff and the brake system is in the way. That ain't fixing to happen. So that's why I went back with the idea of mounting the turbos under the car in the fender well. It'll work. But then what do I do with the exhaust? At this point, I wish that I had either bought a Hellion or just an Eaton swap. About $3,500. We could have set an Eaton right there. Had all the components to go with it. Fed some boost for now. And then later on, upgraded to a VMP. Some kind of bigger blower. You know, like a 3.4 Whipple. You know, nothing overkill. Just a little bit of boost. Anyways, this is where I'm at. I already had the intake and everything on, but yeah, as I mentioned, the motor had to come back up and out to get that header in. If I decide to hell with it and put my long tubes on, I gotta pull the motor out again to get that damn header out. Or if I decide to keep going with the turbo kit, then I'm still gonna have to pull the motor back up just to get that header out. Fabricating that is going to be a royal pain. Trying to get it in and out, in and out, in and out. Especially because I need it longer coming out of the car. That's going to make it a royal, you know. So, at this point, I'm asking y'all's opinion. Leave me a comment. Do I keep going with this? Work, basically rebuild both headers? Or do we just say to hell with it and put it on Facebook? I'm torn. I really want the boost. But this kit is not a kit. It is not built for this. My final review is, unless you're willing to buy the turbo kit and build your own turbo kit on it, don't buy it. If you're thinking you're gonna buy this and take a week, put it on in your driveway, not gonna happen. If you don't have a cherry picker, several jack stands, and a big jack, wherever the heck it went, you're not gonna do this. Period. You need at minimum a chop saw, a welder, more pieces of stainless, which these are supposed to be a 1 5/8. I'm not sure about it. I'm actually fixing to measure one for you and we'll see. But back to the tools. You're going to need a good, solid fabrication skill set, which I do have, and I can make this work. The only issue is I don't have months to build this car. I miss my car. I want it back on the road like yesterday. But I wanted turbos. So what did I do with my caliper? I had too much going on in the shop. and I've got tools all over the place. About time to stop and clean up. But I want everybody's opinion. I want to know, if it was you dying to get your car back on the road, would you fabricate and do everything to make this kit work? Or would you just simply throw your long tubes back on it and let it eat? Let's see what we got here. Yeah, it's fairly flat. Kind of, sort of. Hand swap. Huh. 145.55. I am no mathematician, but I am pretty solid with math. That's not 1 inch and 5/8. Right over here. This side of the weld, 148.1. Looks like we're just shy of 1.5 inches. So, with that said, headers aren't quite what they were advertised unless they measured it off of the flange up here, where it's been bent, squished to fit that flange. Possible, but the tubes themselves are 1.5 inches. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Should we continue and rework the headers completely, extend them, bend them, and everything else? Or should we just say the heck with it, put the long tubes on and run the car? Let me know your thoughts. Drop them below. Thank you. Y'all just let me know.